message across to you. The fact of the matter is that this book, like most significant projects, took a whole team to create, and it would be dishonest for either of us to take more than our fair share of credit. This really is a book written by and for all of us. We hope you enjoy it. Chris Mefford and Kyle Buckett. Introduction. Leadership is overrated. How did a group of 19th century explorers survive a deadly winter in Antarctica on a ship trapped in ice, with no working instruments to guide them, and in a sunless environment that turned men mad? It might have had something to do with the penguins. In 1896, the Belgian naval officer Adrien Victor Joseph de Gerlache de Gomery bought a whaling ship from Norway called the Patria. He renamed it the Belgica and set sail for Antarctica the following year on the first scientific mission to explore the continent. Carrying a crew of scientists and officers from Norway, Romania, and Poland, the Belgica set sail from Antwerp in August 1897. On board were more than 20 men, including the Norwegian Roald Amundsen, who would later lead the first successful expedition to the South Pole. On the way to Antarctica, the Belgica stopped in Rio de Janeiro, where the crew was joined by Frederick Cook, an American who became the ship's doctor and would later lead an expedition to the North Pole. Both he and Amundsen would keep detailed journals of the trip, making notes and observations to be used for future adventures. The group was far from prepared for what was to come. Many of the men lacked basic seamanship skills, and others didn't possess the discipline necessary to survive such a harrowing journey. Some quit, others were dismissed, and those who remained were not any better off. In January 1898, the crew reached the coast of the Antarctic Peninsula, the northernmost part of Antarctica. Over the next month, they sailed through a string of islands, charting and naming several of them, then crossing the Antarctic Circle in February. By March, the ship had gotten trapped in the ice of the Bellingshausen Sea. Despite the crew's attempts to break free, they soon realized their predicament wouldn't be easily overcome. Cook wrote, "We are imprisoned in an endless sea of ice. We have told all the tales, real and imaginative, to which we are equal. Time weighs heavily upon us as the darkness slowly advances." In May, the sun set, and it didn't rise for months. The crew, deprived of sunlight and enough winter clothing for every man on board, grew sick and demoralized. There wasn't enough food, so they hunted to stay alive. In spite of the only doctor on board, Cook, recommending a diet of high protein, which included raw penguin and seal meat, to avoid the effects of scurvy, the ship's commander forbade the diet because he didn't like the strange taste of the meat. Both he and the captain grew so sick that they wrote their wills and confined themselves to bed, expecting to die. Some men did die. Others became deathly ill or went insane. The crew was filled with despair, and death loomed over the darkened horizon of each day. In June, Émile Danco, a Belgian geophysicist, died of a previously existing heart condition worsened by the lack of proper food and the extreme conditions. The Polish geologist Henryk Arctowski, who was also on board, wrote of his burial, "In the obscurity of the midday twilight we carried Lieutenant Danco's body to a hole which had been cut in the ice, and committed it to the deep." A bitter wind was blowing. As with bared heads, each of us silent, we left him there, and the floe drifted on. With both commander and captain now ill, the first mate, Amundsen, and the ship's doctor, Cook, took charge and ordered the men to eat high rations of the stored penguin and seal meat. Soon the crew members were eating 7 meals per day, which restored them to relatively good health, improving their mental faculties and physical strength. As the men improved, Cook encouraged them to sit in front of the fire each night and play card games, gambling with imaginary sums of money. This helped the crew focus on something other than the imminence of their own extinction.